Hate to Talk, all thanks to Uber One, and it's a bit of a special episode today because we did, of course, last week have the Mysterious Planet Part 1, where we had a chat to host of the TV show, Leigh Hart. And, we got about halfway through it and we delved into a few of the mysteries, but didn't have enough time last week. So I'd like to welcome back once again to the show, Leigh Hart.
Thanks, man. Great to be here. And mysteries, they certainly suck up time and took a lot of my life, making that show, and plenty of other researchers before me, documentary filmmakers. I mean, last time we covered off your biggies, your Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot,
Machu
Picchu, Peru.
Machu Picchu.
So we're getting around the world, man. You can see that we're traveling around, and that's really putting a lot of strain on us as a film crew. On the budget starting to squeeze.
What was the biggest cost you found with making this TV show?
Wages.
Yeah.
I think, cameramen aren't cheap.
Get a tight shot.
Medical bills.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you have to pay for the medical bills after snake bites, it's probably an unforeseen cost.
I don't know how much TV you've made, but you normally make a wrap party after the end of a series.
Yeah.
You make a 12-part series, something, or, end of the year, you have a wrap party with the whole crew. We tended to do that after every show. Or some after every day sometimes, just because we didn't know where it was going to end up.
Yeah.
We're in a different country, different cultures. You need to sort of become a part of that. So we moved on from Scotland after Graham Cosby, one of the researchers we were looking into the Loch Ness Monster with. He had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, I think we left it at him chasing you with a camera tripod.
We left him to go back to try and patch up his marriage, which I don't think he's done in that time. I don't know where he is now. So we find ourselves in New Mexico, in America, the Roswell incident.
Wow. Okay. And tell us more about that.
Well, a bit of background on that, of course. It's probably the most well-documented UFO incident in history. 1947, apparently a strange metallic disc crashed in the desert there. A farmer finds it. Air Force check it out. Were there alien bodies on there? Was it perhaps a weather balloon that crashed? Over the years, Matt, as you can imagine with these mysteries, they can get convoluted, Chinese whispers, all kinds of theories. So we were there to get to the bottom of that.
And did you get to the bottom of answering any of those questions you just mentioned?
Well, we got off to a bad start because we arrived at the Roswell Festival, I suppose.
Right.
A good time to go and do this because you got a lot of people in the one place. But we went to our first event. We got kicked out of it.
Is that like a music festival or?
Well, there was music there, funny enough. There's a carnival, there's a parade. It's a colourful event. But we were there for the serious business of UFO research. And that was just the backdrop. We went to our first seminar, I suppose, to talk to these UFO experts. We got thrown out of that because of our experience at the Bigfoot conference,
right?
A number of weeks earlier.
So the Roswell conference got wind of your Bigfoot conference.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that the Bigfoot people contacted the Roswell people saying that we're on our way there and to not let us in, because we're there to undermine the thing. We were actually there as serious researchers. And I don't understand, what's the correlation between Bigfoot and UFOs? Just because you believe in the Loch Ness Monster doesn't mean you have to believe in Bigfoot or UFOs.
But do you find there is a lot of crossover there?
With the type of people that believe in them, yes, there is. But as far as facts or et cetera, there doesn't have to be. One could be real or one might not be. You don't sort of sign up to believe in everything that is on the verge of being unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's more of a personality trait, I think, than logic. And we were trying to bring logic to this discussion with our documentary crew. So we wanted to go to the desert, to the exact place where the UFO apparently crashed, and bring some technology there and to try and find some remains there.
Was it the same technology as you had when you were in Scotland looking for Loch Ness, or different types?
That was more water-based technology, obviously, being in a loch. But in the desert, we were using our sort of pretty powerful metal detectors. Out in the desert there, that'll pick up anything, They're too much, actually. It was picking stuff up in the car and that, you have to take all your keys out of your pocket. You'd have to we had to move all the snacks that had foil around them or chip packets, that they had to be moved away from the area we're looking at. Even the guys that end up taking their pants off, they had zips and stuff in there, on their clothing, because that would pick up and give you bad reading. And we found some interesting stuff.
Yeah, like?
Yeah, one of the most interesting pieces we sent off to the labs turned out that was the steering column of a Buick. Have you seen one of those before?
A Buick?
A steering column to a Buick.
Potentially. I think
Okay,
so.
well, I
yeah.
hadn't before that, so that was interesting. And then we had these. We found these amazing tiny bits of foil around the place with like a gel on them. I thought this could be
That could be alien.
that could be out of this worldly, if anything.
And it was?
We sent that off. No, it wasn't. Unfortunately, that turned out to be the foil packets for a condom, and that was the gel. I think there's a gel that they use for. Like
a lubricant.
Yeah, no, it might be lubricant. Might be lubricant. I think it was more like a spermicide type of thing. Or a lubricant. Maybe there's 2 in 1. I don't know. But the point is, it wasn't anything that we were looking at.
Right.
So there's some disappointments with some of our results, but it only got worse kind of after that.
Right. How so?
One of the cameramen, luckily it wasn't the one that got bitten by a snake back in Peru, a different one. He had sinus issues, and he would have antihistamine for those issues. And I went to his bag and to find the antihistamine, and I gave it to him. Well, I thought I had. Turned out I gave him antivenom for snake bites. And that's quite different than antihistamine. I don't know how much antihistamine you've had or even antivenom. And antivenom is actually made from venom. So technically he was bitten by a snake. They hadn't even been bitten by a snake. He didn't see a snake.
So you were indirectly in charge of basically 2 cameramen, separate incidents.
Yeah, with snake-related injuries.
Yeah.
So we had to take him to the hospital, lost another couple of days there. I'm back on the tools, filming a lot of the stuff. A lot of the best shots, actually, is a lot of the stuff I got. But I wouldn't go on about that. So they were there, and we get into the festival eventually, and that's where we get probably our best stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and that's interviews with eyewitnesses, people that have been abducted, had, close encounters is the word. With
similar
these
to
aliens.
the encounters that happened with Bigfoot, not once, twice, but thrice?
A similar, Matt, but I think these are very compelling. I think you need to hear it from some of these eyewitnesses. Roll that footage, Kimmy.
A UFO landed in my mom's yard in 1954, and I was born less than a year later.
So you're saying you're actually born of alien?
All I know is that her husband had thought she cheated on him, and she never did, My mom was gold. She never do nothing like that. She's a good Christian woman.
Were the aliens in Roswell the same as the ones that you saw? The big heads and the eyes?
Oh, yeah, some of them are, yeah.
No genitalia?
Actually, they do have genitalia, but not, I didn't see it on the males, but I know it on the females because I've actually have intercourse with those females several times.
Sorry? So you had intercourse with the female?
Yeah, several times, yes.
Several times?
Yes, before they let me go.
In the one night?
No, they kept me about a week.
And that whole time you were having sex with aliens?
Yeah, well, not all the time having sex with them, but
you didn't have sex with any of the males?
Huh?
The males don't have sex?
No, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't have anything to do with them, but.
Wow, that is pretty powerful stuff. So that sexual encounter was more consensual than the Bigfoot one you talked about.
Yeah, well, it seemed to be. I'm not sure how it works on a mother ship, but he certainly believes that. So we're either dealing with someone there who's had a very legit close encounter with the being from another solar system, or someone with serious mental health issues. And either way, it makes good TV.
Yeah,
I think he goes on, doesn't he?
Since I had their devices in my head, I used their devices to control their ship with and stuff. They didn't know how I did that because I have more advanced technology in me. So instead of doing mean things to me, they became my friend. They offered me their technology. I said, I don't want this. Mankind's not ready for it. He'll destroy the world with it.
Yeah, that was an incredible interview there. And unfortunately for us as well, one of the more compelling interviews on the show was from one of our crew members, AJ, the producer.
Yeah.
He recalls being abducted by aliens himself many years ago. So I think we've got some footage of that. He was very reluctant on the show to even talk about this, but I sort of bumped up his wages and we got him to talk about that on the show. And this is pretty powerful stuff. So we'll just give you a sample of that. Not the whole thing, it's a bit too powerful.
He told me he was a medical professional from another galaxy, and he wanted to just run some tests on me. He took some urine off me, and then took fluid out of what seemed to be one of my ears, and then things started to get crazy. I blanked out for a while. They put a rectal mind probe up my ass and started downloading information about Earth from my brain.
What do you think they learned?
I don't know, but it was up there for a hell of a long time. They were using a very slow modem.
Well, there you go. And obviously we have to reenact that with images and stuff. I mean, that.
Yeah.
And obviously the images you see there, that's a recreation that we did in the house to sort of show what went on. And yeah, I'd like to think that in real life, it wouldn't look that cheap, for AJ's sake. I don't think they would have used a bicycle pump like that to download information from his backside. And yeah, and it begs the question once again, mate, why would they want to do that? What are they trying to get?
Yeah. What are they trying to achieve there?
Exactly. There's always history with this stuff too. One of the other major interviews we did was with someone who's actually on the base back in the day when they brought the alien bodies in, apparently.
Right, so they were alien bodies?
Well, this is what the claim is. This was a fairly compelling, hard-hitting interview. Was slightly undermined by the fact that the sergeant at the time was now a fully fledged transvestite now. So it was very hard to take him as serious as when he was in his military uniform in many ways. But this is the sort of stuff we were up against. As a crew, we didn't have an issue with that. I just prefer it wasn't in this doco.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
This stuff's never definitive. That's what makes them mysteries. That's what makes them great mysteries, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Powerful.
We did meet Miss New Mexico.
Did she make the cut for the show?
Sorry, what?
So did you end up solving the mystery?
No, we didn't. But we moved on from there anyway. Mentally we'd moved on, and we'd already sent to have our gear on to the next mystery anyway.
Oh, right. So where was that mystery?
Oh, of course, we go to Egypt, as you do.
Might stop you there just for a moment. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk about the next mystery in Egypt. Welcome back to Pay to Talk, and this is the Mysterious Planet special, part 2, where we're talking to host and producer of the TV show, Leigh Hart. Now, we've just been in Roswell. Now we're moving on to Egypt.
Whoa, slow down, Matt, not so fast. Yes, we're off to Egypt to look at the pyramids, but on the way, what better place to stop at? Stonehenge. In England. We stopped along the way there, but that wasn't without its issues either. First thing, once you get there, look, it's semi-impressive, but once you get there, you realise, why didn't they finish it?
It's so historic,
Yeah, well, I think you got to grow up. If it was so damn good, they would have finished it, wouldn't they? Why didn't they put that up there?
I think you're wrong.
Yeah, so look, we did a brief study of Stonehenge, spent a bit of time there and then moved on.
All right, so how long were you there for?
About 4.5 minutes, I think. Actually, think the van might have been running the whole time, and we were straight to the airport, and of course, off to Egypt. We had a lot of work to do there. A lot of work to do.
So you didn't solve the Stonehenge mystery?
I don't think there was one to solve. I mean, people brought the stones there. They put them on top of each other. They didn't finish. So we went to Egypt, and we had bigger fish to fry, so to speak, with the pyramids and the Sphinx.
The Sphinx.
Pardon?
What did you say?
The Sphinx, yeah.
Sphinx.
Yeah, the Sphinx.
Not Sphinx.
Pardon?
Huh?
The Sphinx.
Sphinx.
Yeah, well, it depends where you some people call it the Sphinx,
right?
Some of the Sphinx, and the pyramids.
Right.
Yep.
And how did that go?
Not good.
And in what way? What is it like sort of going to these places and seeing these mysterious objects and things?
Yeah, it's a good question, because as a documentary filmmaker or a doco filmmaker, if you want to shorten that, it's tough for me, because we get a permit to film in front of the pyramids or the Sphinx, and it's for like 45 minutes. So we're trying to get through a lot of script and a lot of data, a lot of information for the viewer. So you got to remember, I'm facing the camera. The pyramids are behind me. This is my one-time, lifetime opportunity to talk about the pyramids and see the pyramids and feel them. And I'm not even looking at it, really. Brent on camera, he's looking at it, but even he's not seen it properly either, because he's looking through a viewfinder and he's trying to look for the best light, staying focused. So you're not kind of really experiencing anything. But anyway, we had a lot of stuff to get through, like who built them, why,
did you establish that?
Well, it's pretty obvious, I think, when you get there. They built them because they wanted to.
Do you know who built them?
The Egyptians did, I think. Again, was it aliens, stonemasons from another solar system on a bigger contract?
The same ones from Machu Picchu.
If it's the same ones, this is a bigger contract.
Yeah.
And it was done before Machu Picchu. I mean, it's common sense comes into it. Again, my father's he's in construction and stuff. And if you bring a common sense approach to this stuff, which he tends to do, which I find quite refreshing, also quite annoying, if you want to build something that high as the pyramids, which used to be the highest structure, I think, until the Eiffel Tower was built. If you want to build it that high, you have to have a base that big. If you told some kids, if you gave them a whole lot of blocks and said, build the highest thing you can, wouldn't be long before they worked out that they have to have the base bigger, smaller, and going up like that. It was only in recent times with steel and concrete that you could go sort of straight up. My point there is it proves they actually didn't have that much technology. And you suddenly see it as if it was just revealed overnight. It wasn't. It took thousands of years.
So you could argue that at this stage you've still not solved any mysteries, but your father's solved one.
Well, yeah, I think we weren't going around the world trying to debunk mysteries, but there was a slight attitude to it, like state the obvious if you can. You know what I mean? We ended up in the desert. We were lucky enough to be invited into a very, very privileged, in fact, to this dig that, no one had been on. This is a very fresh dig. And they were going in there, and we brought the camera crew. We're the only camera crew on hand at the time that could document what was going on there. That was pretty cool stuff.
And what was going on there?
Well, we got kicked off that actually in the end. Well, we got invited back on eventually, as I say, because we were the only crew in the area, so they got us back in. We found initially there was a cave. And we thought, what better place to use some of our technology, which again, we had the Sand Rover 2000 with a kind of a camera on it.
Yeah.
Took a lot of convincing to get the head of the dig to give us permission to do that. I mean, initially it was quite good. It was quite impressive data coming through there, but then we kind of lost control went rogue.
Chesney has gone rogue and is not responding to basic commands.
Come back at you, AJ.
But then, drama. And once again, Leigh, the mysterious planet team, and their technology have been ejected from the dig.
Right.
I think there was another occasion after that they pulled up a mummy.
This is the sort of the mummy, the tomb wrapped in...
Yes, the cliche kind of thing. And I'd never seen anything like that before. And, I'd done a lot of research. I'm an expert on a lot of stuff, but not my ancient Egyptian was, I'm not bad, but it's a bit like my French, I suppose. I'm sort of, I can communicate in it.
Not bad, but not good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I can order a beer and that kind of stuff, and I can't read hieroglyphics that well, So as a doco team, we're trying to bring what we can and to this Egyptian dig, and our reputation's on the line here, and New Zealand's reputation. Yeah, I mean they don't know what's gone on before.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So we thought we'd make it up to them by lending them some of our computer stuff that we had, they didn't.
Some stats, some data.
Wow, no more sort of facial recognition technology. Yeah, pretty top end stuff. So we did this, and there's a big slow render, of course. But, we got the whole team there, and pretty powerful moment for us. This was make or break for us.
Yeah.
Could have been related to some of the very people there on the dig.
Wow.
Pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And this is the peak of the doco too, So, of course, we're all there, and the face becomes clearer and clearer. And I don't know if it was me first or it was AJ, but we start to notice this looks very familiar, this guy.
Yeah.
I've seen this guy before. I'm not sure if the local Egyptians had seen the image before, but it looked very much like Gary Busey. The actor?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it looked exactly like him.
Right.
So I'm not sure if it was pulling data from somewhere else on the computer or somehow how that managed to infiltrate, that software. But it did end up being called the Gary Busey mummy.
Right.
And again, we're kicked off the gig and ridiculed in many ways. Well, they were as well, which made it worse. For them, we could move on. They couldn't. They were stuck there, and everyone at the university and local people were mocking them and stuff. But gave us a chance to get back into the city, to Cairo, and do some research about the pyramids and why they built them. And one of the theories I was trying to get across, that the shape of the pyramid, which is the obviously the triangle, the pyramid, or the upside down V shape, was representing the V, the veggie, the vagina, the vagine.
I thought you were going to say sort of like Illuminati.
Yes, very much like that. The vagu, the vagine, vagina. So I got that across to one of the top Egyptologists in Egypt. And he it didn't go down well either, so he just kind of laughed at me. But it was tough there as well. Brent on camera, he got food poisoning again. So once again, I'm doing a lot of shooting.
Was that your fault, like the snakes?
I'm not sure about that, actually. We did have a big night in a karaoke bar. I think we were singing Money for Nothing. I want my head. Remember that? The MTV?
Yeah.
And then we did have some seafood from the Nile.
Right.
And so perhaps that's when Brad got, but I end up having to film the sunsets and stuff again.
Yeah, right. I don't think it matters where you are. I don't think you should trust the seafood at a karaoke bar, probably.
Yeah, you're right. And you probably shouldn't have a seafood basket and the oysters from the Nile. Yeah. So we moved on from there and went off to finish off. Where else do you finish a show like that? Bermuda.
Bermuda. So just before we go to Bermuda, Egypt, did we solve any mysteries in Egypt?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
No.
All right, we're just going to take another quick break and we'll come back with Bermuda.
Bermuda Triangle, fantastic.
Welcome back to Page to Talk. This is the Mysterious Planet Part 2 special, where we've got host, producer, and co-host of this podcast as well, Leigh Hart. Now, We've covered off a number of the mysteries so far, but I think finally we're on to the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, that's right. We've been all over the world by this stage, and of course we're finishing off in Florida, Miami, to look at the Bermuda Triangle. Of course, a bit of background to those just joining us and strangers to mystery. It's an area off the coast of Florida, Miami, where a lot of planes, ships, you name it, have gone missing. There's a lot of theories, as UFOs again, magnetism, sea spouts, you name it. There's been all sorts of theories put forward, So we were really looking forward to this, but you got to remember, by the time we got there to do this, we'd really blown the budget on this show. So I've got to be honest with you, before we even got to Miami, I knew we wouldn't really be doing a show there.
Right.
I already decided that we were going to use the mystery itself as a way of not actually making an episode. You know what I mean? So let's pretend to head out and we go missing in the Bermuda Triangle ourselves, which would mean we don't have to make an episode at all.
So okay, I see what you're doing. Smoke and mirrors. So you didn't actually make it out to
Or we
Bermuda?
had to stretch it out for the length of an episode.
Right.
And the rest is a bit of a recap from the episodes that went before.
Right. So
we're kind of milking footage twice.
It's kind of like this podcast.
Well, this is more so. This is milking it a third time.
Yeah, right.
In a way. So you got to remember, this budget really has been blown. We've had some issues with it. So with what's left, we filmed the infamous boat scene going out. And then we decided to have, a real proper rap party in Miami. I think we deserved it. It'd been pretty tough going.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty big night. With what was left of the funds, on the TVNZ credit card. But have you ever seen the movie The Hangover?
I have, yes.
Okay. I'll explain it backwards. So what happened, we woke up one morning, all a bit worse for wear, and we're trying to find the credit cards or any cards or anything at all for the trip. From the trip, we'd lost it all. And we literally had nothing. So we were kind of panicking because we still need to get home and we've got no credit cards, nothing. It's like we've been mugged kind of thing. And just lying on the floor there is one of the small little handy cam cameras, which we sometimes took out at night just in case we see anything interesting to film. So I don't know whose idea it was. They said, look, why don't we have a look on the camera and see if there's any clues as to what happened. So that's the Hangover movies, just like this. So we're all on the bed, crouched around, looking at the camera, scrolling back on the little viewfinder. You see us all going out and a few nightclubs, partying, and then we get to a scene. The very last piece of footage filmed is three of the guys sort of frolicking around in this fountain in the middle of town, diving and swimming and everything in the fountain. So we go down to reception and we say to show them the footage. Do you know where this is, this location? And I think she goes, well, no, it's a fountain down 2 blocks down there to the left. And we said, okay, great. So we're running down there. And sure enough, we get to this fountain and and this fountain's floating all the receipts, credit cards, anything we had, credit cards, all this paperwork, just floating in the thing. So we're in there grabbing it all. And that's how we found the cards and stuff. There's no way we would have found that, And
then you had to hand those receipts back to TVNZ.
Yeah, wet receipts. So it worked out. That was a real sort of example of, life imitating art and that getting in, the Bermuda Triangle going missing. We kind of did go missing in many ways in the last episode,
Yeah.
But a great way to finish an epic series.
Yeah. And this was a very good sort of deep dive into that that series. Would you ever consider doing a season 2?
Well, you couldn't make a show like that now.
Why couldn't you make another show like that?
They would say it couldn't be done.
Who would say it couldn't be done?
What do you mean?
Well, you said they. Who's they?
Or the people that would say you couldn't do it. they would say, well, you could do it. You probably could do a show. I mean,
Yeah.
we could do it.
Yeah.
We could do it. Yeah, we probably would do another one.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll probably do another show like that, yeah.
What would you do it on? Sort of what mysteries these sounds like MH380 or?
What do you mean?
Well, just because, you've covered off Machu Picchu, you've done Roswell, the pyramids with the second
Yeah, you would do
series.
those again. We just do the same ones again. We didn't solve them the first time, so we'll just do them again. Go back to the same places, but just do it better.
Right.
There you
Cool.
go.
Well, Leigh, thanks for joining us on Page Talk.
Can I just say, Matt, before you sign off, it's been really cathartic for me doing this and letting a lot of this out. It's been bottled up inside of me. A lot of the crew that got hurt and stuff, being able to talk about that, the fraudulent nature of some of it. It's just been great to get off my chest and talk to people about it. But yeah, thank you.
That's great to hear, and I'm glad you could join us on Page Talk. And thank you for the unfiltered journey, I guess. Through.
Well, thanks for coming over.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll just see you next week since we both co-host this podcast.
Brilliant.